What is your name, your occupation, and where do you work?
My name is Glendedora Dolce. My occupation is a program assistant intern, and I work at the Georgia Department of Public Health.
Great. How would you describe your occupation to someone who's not familiar with injury prevention or public health?
Right. I would describe injury prevention as just our daily lives. We have like we can get injured from like anything, like getting out of bed and tripping over a cord and or getting burned when you're trying to make eggs. That sort of thing are injuries. And injury prevention is just the modifications and the policies in place to prevent those from occurring, such as street lights, to put order when driving, or stop signs, or just even the road lanes, just helping to prevent injuries and fatalities. So that would be my definition of injury prevention.
That's great. So, what are some of your day to day tasks or roles in your position?
Yeah, as an intern, we get to work on multiple projects in terms of what our interests are. But in terms of my interest, I was really interested in occupant safety and child passenger safety. And I was able to work on a pilot project that assessed driver behaviors and restraint use. Restraint use is um, car seats or seat belts. Those are considered restraints. And the project entailed of observing the drop off during elementary schools and assessing whether the child was properly restrained, whether the parent, put them in a car seat, and just assessing also the driver behavior, like were the drivers wearing seatbelts, and that was really cool to assess because you get to see really how behaviors affect how we drive, and just finding ways to how to protect drivers on the road by trying to understand why they make those decisions that they make. And another cool project that I worked on was um, assessing how injuries are portrayed within media, looking up injuries in terms of motor vehicle crashes and hot car deaths and homicide. And it's just really interesting to see how media portrays these injuries with a lot of sympathy, but there's a lack of concern of like, why are these occurring and how should we prevent, this high rate of injuries from car crashes from occurring. So that was really interesting. And I also got to work with like trauma, um, head trauma in terms of concussion, um, and just helping to. I know that Georgia is trying to find ways to create policies to protect children in school, and in terms of making sure that all schools have a policy in regards to concussion management. So that was really cool to work on. So yeah, those are just some of the projects that I got to work on.
Yeah, that all sounds really cool. And I like how there was like a wide variety of projects and really got you exposed to a lot of different things. That sounds really cool.
Right.
Um, how did you get interested in this position or like find this position or end up working here?
Yeah, I think it's just like a really crazy story. It was kind of not random, but random. But I was trying to find a practicum, and I ended up not finding one until like the summer. I started volunteering at the DeKalb County Board of Health, and the coordinator introduced me to child passenger safety. I had no idea what injury prevention was. I had no idea, like what was child passenger safety. But it was really interesting to learn how motor vehicle crashes are like the number one cause of death and fatality among children, and the leading cause of death among just individuals worldwide. And just learning those facts was very impactful because, when you think of public health, you think of chronic disease as being like the leading cause of death, and you don't think
Mhm.
about injuries. And my coordinator was like, you should become a certified passenger safety technician. Basically, certified passenger safety technicians educate caregivers and parents on installation, like how to install your car seat properly and providing education. And from there on, I learned about the internship at Georgia Department of Public Health, and I was able to expand my knowledge and also expand my skills and assist on those projects. So yeah, it was a crazy way of how I got into it, but once I got into it, I never looked back. So
Yeah, that's really cool. What excites you most about your job?
what excites me most is that I'm actually like making a difference, like helping to protect the citizens of Georgia, um, helping any way that I can in terms of like the projects that I was assisting on to prevent, you know, early death, or injuries. I think that those are really powerful. And yeah,
Cool. So do you wanna talk now about some of the other positions you've had while at Rollins?
yeah. The other positions I've had was a graduate research assistant for a study on falls and Parkinson's disease, just studying how patients with Parkinson's disease and their rate of falls, which is kind of also like injury prevention. But my role was just organizing the data on REDCap and also conducting surveys of the patients, contacting them, asking them, hey, did you have a fall this week? And just inputting that into REDCap. And yeah, that would be another experience I gained.
Cool. Just for those who don't know, can you define what REDCap is?
Yeah, so REDCap is a database where you can just put certain information in there so that it can be analyzed within R or SAS. So it's just like a database where it's just holding information. It can be surveys that that you're trying to let me see. Yeah, surveys or because RedCap is very new for me.
Right?
So yeah. So all I know is that like for my position, it was entailing just sending out surveys and getting information from those surveys, like
Okay,
their, patient information, their fall risk and things of that sort.
cool. Awesome. Okay, so now that you're a second-year student and getting ready to graduate, what are you doing now to look for future positions? What kind of positions have you been applying to?
Yeah, because of my high interest in traffic safety and transportation safety, I have applied to NISTA. NISTA is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. I've applied to their fellowship. It entails of occupant protection and impaired driving, and yes, I'm really interested in that field. So hoping to get into that and also just looking for opportunities and jobs that entail just injury prevention in general, whether occupational injuries or yeah, just anything injury prevention. That's what I'm looking to apply for.
Very cool. So I don't know how familiar you are with the certificate program, but we have a certificate program at Emory that is the Injury and Violence Prevention Certificate.
Hmm.
The program is really meant to enhance graduate education and prepare students to become leaders of injury and violence prevention within their chosen discipline.
Hmm.
So, what might your advice be to someone who's considering the certificate program?
Yes. So I heard about the certificate my second year, and I would say those are one of the one things that I regret that I didn't get during my experience at Rollins because I took one of the courses out of the certificate. It's a required course called Injury Prevention and Control, taught by Lisa Dawson, the director of the Injury Prevention Program at Georgia Department of Public Health. And that was like really like a life-changing course because just learning that injuries are predictable and preventable and just learning so much about the different aspects of injury prevention and having guest speakers and just like the course load, just you learn so much. So I really encourage those to really consider the injury prevention certificate. You learn both sides of injury. You learn about unintentional intentional injuries, which are like car crashes or falls or drowning. And then you learn about the intentional injury side, which is like violence, like gun violence and um, of that sort. So you get a broad range of what injury composes of. So I really do encourage people to get that certificate.
If you're interested in applying to the IVP certificate, then email Dr. Dorian Lamis. You can also learn more about the certificate by visiting us on our website or social media.